These are some examples of some ratings that have been given to some of my plays. And it's always a sore point for me that it's very hard for my plays to get anything except Advisory 16 and above. An Alfian Sa'at play is either Advisory 16 or Restricted 18. The only plays of mine that get like general ratings are my pantomimes, but that's because they're mostly pitched at kids. But otherwise, a lot of that. So you might have this impression, wow, this Alfian, he writes, what is it, pornographic stuff, violent stuff, really controversial stuff. But the only thing is that they are just merely political. Let me give you an example. So in Merdeka, I got Advisory 16. The reasoning given: the play Merdeka explores notions of colonialism and imperialism. So far, so good. It is rated Advisory 16, the consumer advised some mature content, as the content includes some racial stereotyping and references to violence and coarse language. Let me address the racial stereotyping. There was one character who's Malay, and then he says that he believed in the history about how the Sultan of Temanggung supposedly sold off the island. And he said, as a Malay person, he accepted this narrative because he had internalized racist self-loathing, where he thinks, okay, Malay people, they are only concerned about short-term gains, they don't think about the future. This racist thing is coming from a Malay person who's critiquing the way he has internalized racism. So Ashley is anti-racist. So to get a rating that kind of flags racial references as if there's something in the work that is racist is, I think, problematic. Let's see another example, which I think is even more nonsense. Okay, let's talk about my play called Pulau Ujong, which is done in 2022. That play got Advisory 16, and the reasoning is here. The event is rated Advisory 16 with the consumer advised some mature content, as it explores a perspective about the impact and cost of development on the environment. That's it. Like that, lor. So once you get these kinds of very puzzling kinds of ratings, then you wonder, what are they thinking? And then if they're not giving many clues to you as to what they're thinking, then you start to speculate what they're thinking. And then you wonder, how did we arrive at this point when people are making, I think, quite subjective and arbitrary decisions about how things are rated in Singapore. You have this kind of like arbitrary marker, supposedly only if you're 18 and above, then you have the mental faculties to process political stuff. But I think we are surrounded by politics, and actually having political literacy as young as possible is important. I'm not saying like come out from the mother's womb and do that, right? Let's say extreme violence, graphic sexual depictions, you should restrict it for younger people. Later the children got nightmare or something like that, right? But to have a sense that, let's say when you start reading newspapers, when you're in primary school even, to understand certain things like what is the angle, what is the media bias, what kind of position a reporter is taking, even if it's a political opinion piece. Yeah, you see that in the newspapers all the time. So we are surrounded by this, and rather than, as has been mentioned, about gatekeeping, it really should be about public education. It should really be about literacy.